Hello and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we are going to be discussing a new game, that being Skull and Bones, Ubisoft's long-delayed pirate project, promising to take the mechanics of Assassin's Creed Black Flag and turn it into an open-world multiplayer pirate game. The game was first announced in 2017, just a couple years after the release of Black Flag, the game that, to this day, remains the best Assassin's Creed game ever made. But the game did not come out in 2017, or 2018, or 2019, or even 2020. No, it was just finally released on February 16th, 2024, a full 7 years after it was announced. There is a possibility, however slim, that people playing this game currently are people that weren't even born when it was announced. But was all that wait and delay worth it? Is the game the best game ever? Or is it absolutely terrible trash that should be avoided at all cost? Or is there a reasonable middle ground to be found? Let's dive on in and find out. So, to be clear, this is not a review of any sort, first impressions or otherwise. This is just my thoughts about the game after my first full binge day playing the game. I have about 12 hours into the game right now, and I figured it was about time to take a break so I can rest my eyes on a nice bright white screen of my Microsoft Word document so that they don't start to bleed and fall out of my skull. As fun as that typically is, I'm just not in the mood for it today, so a half day will need to suffice for my first day on the high seas. But before I get into the nitty-gritty, let's just answer the question for those too impatient to listen to me spin my yarn. Is the game good? Yeah, it's alright. That's the short answer. Don't play this game expecting Black Flag or The Second Coming, because it's neither of those things. But it's also not nearly as bad as a lot of people have been screaming that it is or would be. I'm sure, as I put a couple dozen more hours into the game, I'll start to pick up on the little things that I don't really like about it. But so far, I have no major complaints. It does not have any ground combat. I know a lot of people are confused about that, but it is solely a ship combat game. Now, that doesn't mean you won't spend any time on your feet, because you will. There are various areas to explore, collectibles to find, and hubs that you will spend a decent amount of your time in. There just isn't any personal combat. So if you were expecting swords or pistols in your pirate game, I have bad news for you. There is none. And it's not just the islands that cannot be explored on foot, pistol in hand. The boarding operation when engaging in ship-to-ship combat is just an animation. You will do literally zero swashbuckling in this game, at least as of release. So again, I stress, if you need that in your pirate game, then do not buy this one because it is not present. That is the only really big thing about this game that has been a disappointment so far. And I say disappointment and not surprise. I knew that there would not be any hand-to-hand combat in Skull and Bones because the developers were very clear about that leading up to the release. I just wanted to focus on it right away because I know that there are some people out there, and you know who you are, that will be absolutely gobsmacked that you can't kill your buddies with a sword in this game. But it's true. However, the rest of the game is a fairly solid experience. So far, I have only done a handful of the story missions, because I have been doing what I always do, and spending most of my time upgrading my ship, equipment, and most importantly, exploring as much of the world as I can without getting absolutely piss-stomped by the privateers out there who want nothing more than to kill me so I don't cut down all the trees. The world is quite large, and does a decent job of feeling open, but not lonely. There are plenty of ships around, namely NPCs, as there are at least half a dozen NPC factions in the game that I've encountered so far, and I haven't even explored the entire map. The ships are leveled based on region, but it's not a hard level lock. You can fight and defeat ships way more powerful than you are if you're good and you know the game mechanics and you get a little lucky. But there are some enemies I encountered when straying way too far out of my way that just one-shot my tiny little ship and killed me. As for multiplayer gameplay, I haven't been bothered to try it much. I got dozens of invites throughout the day, but I ignored them all. I did not attempt to shoot any other player's ships, so I do not know how PvP content may or may not work in this game. I did have a player try to shoot me several times, but his shots did not impact my ship. So maybe it's area locked, or maybe both parties have to engage for PvP damage to be possible. Honestly, I do not know. But I do like that I wasn't spending the entire day being griefed by hardcore players. I feel like most PvP, if it exists and when it exists, will be dominated by endgame ships before the week is out. If it exists, that is. So I think it is a very good thing that it seems to be totally optional, as that would kill the experience for new players. The ship combat itself is fun enough. I enjoy it, although it does have its quirks that I'm not sure if they are bugs or design flaws. Only time will tell there. It is quite similar to Black Flag's ship combat, so that's good. It's just substantially more complex due to the addition of many different weapon types. In Black Flag, it was all relatively straightforward. There were broadside cannons, artillery, chase cannons, and explosive barrels, as well as swivel guns. In Skull and Bones, your weapon systems are modular, and each ship model can hold different amounts of guns. Obviously, there are broadside cannons, but there are many different varieties, from long guns that specialize in much longer range, higher damage shots but take longer to reload, to the short range, almost shotgun-like cannons that are devastating up close but totally useless at a distance, and then of course the standard middle ground ones that I pretty much exclusively use. There are also artillery cannons, and bombards, torpedoes, ballistas, flamethrowers, and many more weapon options that I feel will give a great deal of variety to the combat gameplay in this game. Since Skull and Bones is a multiplayer Ubisoft game, one of the major concerns going into it was microtransactions. And in that regard, I have good news and I have bad news. The bad news is there are microtransactions in this game. Relatively early on, you will be introduced to gold, which is the premium currency in the game, which can be used to purchase cosmetic items for yourself or your ship. However, that appears to be all that it is. So that's the good news. So far, there are no gameplay differences from paying for the premium currency, at least as far as I can tell. So you can spend extra money to look cooler, but as far as that goes, there are also plenty of cosmetic items in the game that can be purchased for regular in-game currency or earned through gameplay or story progression. And in the end, all that really matters to me is that it's not pay to win. Everyone needs to play the game, unlock schematics, and collect resources and money to get better ships and weapons. Which brings me to another topic. The way that you get stuff in this game is actually really fun. So this should be no surprise, but the most important thing in this game is your ship. I know, crazy for a pirate game, but it is true. You unlock ship schematics as you level up, but you also have to find and purchase those schematics, and they are scattered around the map to be purchased from vendors at outposts. In addition to this, many, if not most of them, will also be obtained as quest rewards as well, so technically you can just play the story and get at least most of them organically. But that's not all you need. You also of course need the silver to build these ships, but more importantly, you need to actually collect all of the building supplies yourself, and each region of the map has different resources, and it all scales together. So if you want that better ship, you need to go to the higher level area, find the schematic in that area, and then collect the specific wood, metal, cloth, and any other miscellaneous building supplies that that ship calls for. And so it all feels rather natural in my opinion. Instead of needing to grind out an ever-increasing amount of the same 3 materials, you have to go to a more difficult section of the map and collect different materials. It has not ever felt tedious to me, and in fact, within an hour or two, it became the primary thing that my lizard brain latched onto. Before quitting for my first day, I had barely completed the first 3 or 4 main missions, but I am the proud owner of every model of ship up to the Patawake. And another thing that I like is that, although there is an upward trend, that being generally speaking, each model is better than the last, there is some wiggle room. There are 3 ship stats, that being speed, cargo space, and hull hit points. And they don't all scale evenly as you get the new models. There are also other factors, like the amount of weapons you can have on a ship. This goes 2 ways, both in how many sides of the ship you're allowed to mount weapons on, and also how many cannons per side. So your personal playstyle will dictate which ship that you actually like best at many different stages in the game. I'm not going to get into the deep down nitty-gritty with too many game systems in this video, as I feel like I've said enough already. I will likely be making some more videos about this game for a while, since I don't really plan on playing anything else until Dragon's Dogma 2 near the end of March. But as I already said, the game is alright. I went into it expecting to hate it, but it's actually not that bad. I also assume it will continue to be supported after release, so we may see content or gameplay updates as well as bug support and fixes. So it could get way better, or also hypothetically much worse than it is right now. But as of 10:29 p.m. February 16th, 2024, when I'm writing the script for this video, I am actually enjoying the game a lot. So much so that I want to be done writing this so I can get back to playing it, despite the fact that I really should be done for the day. So as for buying the game, it was only $60 for me on PC. I think the console versions are $70. I don't regret buying it because it does fit the type of game I like to veg out in fairly well, but the price feels a little high for the average gamer. If you buy it full price and love it, that's great. But I feel like for most people, this is a $30 or under game. Now, I'm not saying it's bad or anything or telling you to avoid it, just a gut feeling that I have based on my experience covering and reviewing games, that for most people, the novelty will wear off in a month or two, and they may well feel that it wasn't a great value. I hope I'm wrong, but like I said, that's just my gut feeling. So I can wholeheartedly recommend this game to any open world gamer pirate fans looking for a fairly fun exploration and ship combat game that definitely leans more towards the arcade side and less towards the story-driven or RPG side. And this is a more important but than the one that belongs to that famous man or woman that you find so attractive. You know, the famous, wealthy, incredibly fit person that we both agree is extremely important because of their shapely assets. You know the one I'm talking about. The but here is I can wholeheartedly recommend this game for $40 or less, or if it goes to Game Pass or something. I feel like the gameplay will not grab everyone the same way, and $70 is a lot to gamble on that risk for most people. All that being said, I am currently enjoying it, and I hope if you purchased it that you are too. I'll see you in a month or two after I've played the game enough to hate it, and I'll tell you all the extremely specific reasons why, so you can tell me I'm a shill or whatever. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.